Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. Pro players love the blade. That's the topic of this video. There are so many pro players using the Wilson blade in some form, and I'm also mentioning then the H22 or the Wilson Blade Pro, which it's called in the commercial terms. It's the H22 Pro stock otherwise, and there are 16 of the top 100 in the men's game right now that are using some form of the Blade 98. So let's just look at the list first. Tsitsipas, Korda, Khachanov, Goffin, Sonego, Paul, Brooksby, Carreño Busta, Krajinovic, Humbert, Bonsi, Gaston, Molkan, Vesely, Ymer, and Peja. Those are 16 of the top 100 players in the world now using some form of a Blade 98 or a Blade Pro / H22. So what's so good with this racket? Well, it gives you good control, has this pretty fast feel thanks to the boxy beam, and it's still decent in power compared to maybe some of these old school control rackets, like a Prestige or something like that. So it does give you a little bit of an in-between control, but with some power, and that's what the modern game needs and most pro players need. So this racket is suitable for intermediate to advanced to the pro level, and it's a very popular racket for that reason. It seems to work for many players the world over. And it's a bit low powered for some, like if you need power, if you need spin, the Blade is not the racket to go for, but if control is your thing, you should definitely demo a Blade 98 or either a 1619 for a bit more lift on the ball, a little bit more forgiveness. They're usually a slightly lower in swing weight, or the 1820, which is a bit more precision focused, but also a bit more demanding. So you have options there. And if we look at the competitors for the Blade 98, we have the Head Radical MP, the Technifiber TF40, two good rackets there, a Diadem Elevate, Tolson 40 Loves, another smaller brand, and a Dunlop CX200. They're not really any direct competitors the way I see it from Yonex or Babolat. They have a slightly different profile, those rackets, but you have quite a few options from other brands if you like the specs of the Blade, but you don't want to buy a Wilson racket for some reason. Blade players have been doing really well at Indian Wells this year, starting with Jenson Brooksby. He beat Tsitsipas, interesting guy to watch. He's maybe not the most elegant player with the most gracious technique, but he is very effective and he fights hard and he plays smart. And I've seen experts like Patrick McEnroe, they don't really like some of his on-court behavior, they liken it a bit to college level, which I can understand, but I think once he maybe gets rid of some of that, he's going to be a force in the game, and he's already, doing great things like beating Tsitsipas. That's impressive. Tsitsipas, a Blade user. Brooksby, a Blade user. Brooksby uses what I would guess is the version 5. Some say he's using an H22. I don't think it looks like an H22. Hard to say. I don't think he is so picky with his rackets. That's just a gut feeling. But he strings his rackets with Solinco Outlast, a good control string from Solinco that I'm going to review soon as well. So if you have any specs for Brooksby's rackets, any information you have, let me know. You can send via Instagram message or contact us on tennisnerd.net. Another American that uses a Blade is Tommy Paul, but he's using the H22, and that's the Blade Pro. A little bit different beam profile from the Blade, but they have similar characteristics. For you intermediate players out there, going for a Blade Pro is going to be more demanding because it has more weight in the head and thus a higher swing weight. So the regular blades are usually a better choice. But the Blade Pro is very solid and also has excellent precision like the Blade. Tommy Paul's strong racket specifications, found them online. They're everywhere, so I don't know the original source, but they seem legit, seem logical for his game. Length standard 22mm beam width for the Blade Pro or the H22, 1820 string pattern. It has a pretty low flex, but is still pretty powerful due to all the weight in the head. Weight 347 grams. This is strong specs, and the balance 31.7 centimeter, which is close to 6 points head light. So, and he's using that with the head TK82 grip shape. Another Blade Pro user or H22 user is Sebastian Korda. He almost beat Nadal, as I talked about in my Indian Wells video called Mixed Bag, number 5. And his unstrung specs were published on Tennis Warehouse forums. They have a lot of racket info and specs there, so you can check that out as well. Weight 323.5 grams, and these are unstrung specs. Balance 31.5 centimeters. You add around 1 centimeter when you add strings, so then it will be 32.5. Swing weight 306. When you add strings, usually bump it up around 30 points, so it's 336 to 340 then. String pattern 1820, and he uses a grip 4, which is pretty big for what they use today. Many players are using smaller grips than what used to be the case. Another player who's playing well at Indian Wells and did the upset against Medvedev is Monfils. He came back from 1 set down to beat the world number 1, who will be world number 2 next week. That's how close they are in the rankings. Very impressive performance from Monfils, who hasn't played since Australia. And he's been just spectacular in form this year, and I think he has the confidence to back it up. Is it this new racket from Artengo, which is a brand from Decathlon, the huge French sports chain? Or is it just that he's just feeling better overall? Who knows? But I would love to try his TR Control Tour 960, as it's called, but it's sold out everywhere. I've been looking around different Decathlon stores, and it's sold out everywhere. So if you have tried it, let me know in the comments how it plays. It got some good reviews on the Decathlon websites, but I would really love to try it for myself. So I'm looking around for one. If you see one somewhere, let me know. I've seen that Tennis Sandgren, another H22 user from the past, is now using a Dunlop CX200 something. And yeah, so there are racket changes and updates and strings all the time. Trying to keep my ears to the ground. If you have any information, please send it on Instagram or the contact us form on Tennis Nerd, and I'll try to include it in an upcoming video. Thanks to all of you who do. If you want to support the work I do, please check out my affiliates such as Play Your Court, where you can find a hitting partner or a coach through their excellent platform. Use my link in the description for 50% off. And if you want more content and a chat function with me, you go to patreon.com/tennisnerd and become a member. And if you want to buy a blade or any other racket, string, shoe, whatever, check out Tennis Warehouse Europe, and Tennis Only. That's all for now. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.